Hey y'all, I'm doing some shaker style doors today, so I figured I'd do a little video on it while I'm doing it. This is the bits that I'm using right here. Make sure you can see it. This is just a 3/4 tongue and groove bit. It's got two cutters, both of them a 1/4 inch thick and a 1/4 inch gap in the middle. And this is what I had to do with them. Get two of them, get the cutter off of one. You'll have to put some washers here to compensate for the cutter being gone when you put the nut back on, so it'll tighten up. So I take the cutter off, leave the bearing on, then I take the other bit and just add that cutter to it. You've got to have your little, I'll put my little spacer in here, the bearing. So now I've got a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and almost a 1/2 inch right there. That allows it to do the real shaker door and work with my thickness of material, which I get my material dressed out at 13/16 thick. Anyway, that's the bits. Put them in there. You don't want to bottom it out in the router before this thing tightens up, or it won't tighten up right. But if you look, it goes all the way to there. There's no way to do that. So when I put my bits in, I just kind of get it pretty much flush with that. You just want to have it in there good so it don't come loose, because if this some bitch comes out, it will hurt somebody. Try to be quick here because I don't know how much time I have on this video. This bit is for the end grain. Always run your end grain first. Alright, we got it in there. Let's move this out of the way. These are my test pieces. Always keep you a test piece to make sure you get everything set up right. Now, be damn careful, because this sucker right here will take a finger off and mangle it so it cannot be put back on. What I want is to have 3/8 heavy. See if y'all can see that. Probably not. But anyway, I want 3/8 heavy on the face side and right at an 1/8 inch on the bottom side. So I've got to lower this down. That's gonna be it right there. Like like I say, this is for the end grain, but you pretty much got to have a fence up there. You can't really run end grain like this. It's way too damn dangerous. So, what we do, I got my test piece started here. Now we've got the bearing, like I said. So that's what I do. I run my test piece, put it on the bearing, and bring my fence up to it. Make sure you don't have anything that's going to mess with you as far as that goes. I just put my fence up to it, and on my router table here with this fence, it don't matter if you got it like that, if you got it like that. However, you ain't got to have it just perfect. You just got to make sure that it's straight across and it's riding where it needs to be. I'm going to tweak mine right just like that. And this is kind of a makeshift table, so what I'm doing is just screwing my fence down. When I redo my tabletop, I'll work it out so I can clamp it. But this was just something I had to do as quick as I could with the scrap that I had, just to get a job done. And I've reused that screw about 3 times. I think it's about done. Alright, so anyway, make sure we're good. Looks like we're riding on everything. Make sure we're riding just where we need to be. I want it to just be touching that bearing like it was running on it without the fence, because that's what this thing is set up for. Now, my tongue is a ½ inch in. So when I'm cutting out my stiles and rails, my side stiles, I make them 2½ inches. So when I cut out my rails, I got to allow for that ½ inch worth of tongue on each side. So I make my center pieces, my rails, I make those 4 inches less. 4 inches, 2½, 2½ is 5. 4 inches allows me 1 inch, ½ inch on each side for this. Alright. Now I can run my pieces, and this is just a little makeshift runner right there. But anyway, I've got it set up so that the top side is on top. It don't matter, you can run the pieces upside down or right up, but you got to have your bits set up right for what you're doing. The way I've got my bits set up, I run everything face up. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and run these and try to be real quick so I can get to the other part before the video cuts out. It'll chip out here, and then when you run your next bit, that takes care of the chip out. Alright, that's all my side styles, or my rails, not side styles. Trying to be a little quick here and I'm getting mixed up. And we're going to leave that fence set up because these bits are basically the same. And that fence will work for doing my groove. Now the rails are only ones that get the end grain. But the groove goes on everything. Same thing, I put it in just about to where it's at the end of that collet. You want a little room with that bit, but you don't want it to be out so far it'll come loose. Make sure it's good and tight. You don't have to tighten it down so much that you can't untighten it, but you need it tight. Now, as far as setting the bit up, that coincides with your tongue. So, first setup, I just eyeball it, get it right to where I want it. When you tighten it up, sometimes it will flex and make it raise up a little bit. You just have to double check it when you tighten it. Now, I've got that set, roughly set. We're going to take a test piece and try it and see where we're at. Got our test piece. All we do to check it is put it together, and I am almost right there where I want to be. That needs to lower down about half a hair. everything. We already ran our end grain. Sorry about the video quality, y'all. I'm trying to work on all that. Now, one thing I have noticed with router tables, table saws, anything like this, whenever you cut something and you see all that dust laying around, the first instinct that anybody has is to reach down and brush that dust out of the way. You got to fight your instincts when you're on the saws and stuff like that. It's like something dropping. Your first instinct is to reach and grab it. You got to pull away. Don't grab it. Pull away. Alright, anyway, let's run these and see how everything goes. All right. That is everything run for our side stiles and our rails. Now, I know you've probably seen me run a couple of those twice. What happens, I'm running on the bearing there. So when I run my groove, sometimes a little chip will come out and get in between the bearing. You can feel it bump. So when you feel that bump, you just take it off, get rid of the chip, and rerun it. That way you've got a consistent depth all the way down. Now, let's see here. I'll get this fence off and I'll show you what we've got. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that tell you I've got my fingers too close to the bit. And really they're right. Not even going to lie about that. But I've been doing it for 25 years. I know where that bit's at. You got to be comfortable with your level of skill and know what you're doing. For the beginners, even if you've got a makeshift table like I've got, you can build a guard onto that fence. Guards and feather boards will help you out a lot when you're new. Anyway, there's two rails. That's my panel. I use MDF 1/4 inch for my panel. This is going to be paint grade, and it should fit in that slot. Now, like I said, I cut my rails 4 inches shorter than my side stiles to compensate for that 1/2 inch. My panels, I take an extra heavy 1/16 out of them. At least a heavy 1/16. You can take an 1/8 out of them. They're MDF, so they're not going to swell that way really and push my door apart. A hardwood panel will. Hardwood panel, you've got to allow a minimum of a 1/4 inch. You need an 1/8 inch on each side minimum, or it'll swell and bust that door. But anyway, this is what we've got. Goes together, flush out. There we go.